everyone. This is David Starr from WatcherPass.com, your website for movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Today, I'm joined by Matthew Ninaber, who plays PG in PG, or Psycho Goreman. We're going to talk to Matthew in just a second, but first, let's check out the trailer. And while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. It helps me out a lot. Thank you.
Many moons ago, a nameless evil was imprisoned in a place far beyond reach.
Hurry up!
If he were ever to be released, it would spell certain doom for all existence.
Is that fear I smell? Your planet will be torn to pieces, and I will treat your angry screams as I rip.
Is this yours? Speak?
Oh my god.
The gem of Paraxidike. Whoever wields it is able to command me.
Go over there and wait for us to come back in the morning.
You will suffer an eternity for this.
Bye!
He's gonna kill everybody.
Not unless I tell him to. It was nice meeting you.
It would be nicer if you were dead.
All right, bye.
So thank you so much for joining me. This is Matthew Ninaber, who plays PG in Psycho Goreman. Psycho Goreman is coming out January 22nd, 2021 in theaters and on demand. So you can, check it out any way you want. If you want to go to theaters, you can see it there. If you want to just watch it at home, you can see it there. So Matthew plays the main villain, hero, somewhere in between.
Who knows, right?
So how did you find this movie? How did you, get attached to this? It was such an interesting film. It was fun and gory and then fun again and then gory again. So how did you find this movie?
It is a roller coaster. My agent sent me this film and basically said, Steve's doing this crazy project. You need to be part of it. I wanted something different other than doing the classic cop or military role. I'm like, what is this? Let me be part of this. So I found it was a monster film, and then I got even more excited because I love Hellboy and Pan's Labyrinth and movies like that. So yeah, I just went all in, and I've said this before, I don't think it was because of my acting chops I got the job. I think it's because everyone else knew what it was like being in a suit, and I was the sucker that just didn't know what it was like to be in one of these suits, which is completely a different experience. So yeah, no, it was a chance of luck to be part of it.
So I guess that's a good point. I mean, you're probably used to playing like handsome cop or handsome shopper or whatever. So now you're like playing fully suited up person. What's that like to film? And then what's it like, now that the movie's coming out, like telling people, oh, I'm in this film. Oh, but I'm like prosthetically covered and
I love it. I love characters. Being a monster, or whoever PG is, I'll let people decide if he's the monster. I personally think Mimi is the real monster of the movie, but being in that suit, it's horrible. Just to clarify, it's the worst experience ever from a physical point of view because it's so uncomfortable. But actually seeing it and seeing the clips back, and every day they'd show a daily just to inspire me. I'm like, okay, all right, this looks so cool. I'm gonna keep doing this, and I love creating the world. So to be part of Steve's world was just so cool and just an honor. And yeah, I have a monster head that is in my office I get to have, and looks great. I can say I'm a monster. Like this guy, PG is so cool. So to be part of that is just awesome.
That's awesome. That's great little piece of swag to have in your in your studio or wherever you want to put it. That's really cool. I guess this film. One of the things I loved about it, and I think it's one of the things that makes it unique, and might be it might be polarized about the film, is it has a lot of influences from like 80s and 90s TV shows, like especially Japanese action shows and things like that. Did you have any like source material that you were looking at when you're preparing, or are you already a fan of Power Rangers is probably the most well-known example of kind of the type of show that this evokes?
Yeah, like I was saying this to Steve, I'm like, this is like Power Rangers meets Ninja Turtles meets like Terminator 2. Like this is
that's actually great. I should put that in my review.
And that's where I sit. And to be honest, I wanted to have like a big like Arnold type of character, and I wanted to have like the humor and some of the motions to go along with that, and really make something that just people kind of have seen before. Like it has that nostalgic feel, but it's a little bit new. So yeah, no, I went back to some of my heroes from the 80s and 90s and tried to figure out what I can bring to the character, and just from a physicality point of view. And yeah, it's just I don't even think I'm answering your question. I'm just going on a tangent, but yeah.
You know what? Some of the best answers are just tangents. That's perfectly fine. And so, there's scenes where I guess you're fighting other, prosthetically enhanced or prosthetically made up individuals. Some are those all actors in there, or some of them even just like full on puppets? I guess some of them look like they could be crazy enough to be just a puppet, or maybe just a poor actor that's like hunched down trying to move around.
There were some poor actors that were hunched down. I felt so sad for them because I'm like, oh, like it's only for a couple of seconds you see you in the movie, but I know what you did, and you were there all day, hunched down to the place that there's the one character that, without giving away the movie, the blood shooter, and people just forgot somebody was in there because there's so many heads, and one of those heads are actually a real person. And I remember like halfway through the day, he moved. I was like, oh my gosh, there's still a guy in there. But doing a fight scene we did all the choreography obviously without the suits on, and then when we went to actually do it, like there's some pretty intense moves that I just get hit, but the other guys were doing with their costumes on. I was like, this is crazy. Very impressed with them. Great stunt team that they brought on.
Yeah, there was some really good martial arts that, I kind of, thought, oh, this is going to be silly because you see kind of the makeup of the people that you're fighting. And then you've got some pretty good, pretty acrobatic moves during that fight.
Very good throws. There's that classic, I don't even know what that is, scissor kick with that kick back. That was a real hit to the face every single time. I'm just like, okay, I'm glad I'm wearing padding.
Like, can I get some more prosthetics up here?
No acting needed on that one. So, but luckily my face is all foam, so it was just a punching bag.
Yeah, that scissor kick especially, because it happened and I was like, he like kicked with the foot I wasn't expecting him to kick with, and I was like, oh, that's really, really creative, or maybe that's just how it's supposed to be and I didn't know. So you mentioned you went back to some of your classics, maybe things that you watched growing up. I guess that evokes a question, are you into kind of like retro entertainment? Because I saw this as like, when I was describing it to the director, I was describing it as like, this is like a pixel art kind of game. Like it's a modern movie that kind of evokes the feel of a lot of older films, but you've got some of the, more modern concepts in there. Are you into any kind of like retro entertainment?
Not to the extent that like Steve would be into, and he was really exposing me to stuff that I just didn't know exists. Like I grew up on the mainstream, more like Gladiator and Braveheart, and then he just started opening my eye. Like for me, out there was Pan's Labyrinth or Hellboy. Those were things that were like, wow, this is cool creature stuff. And like it was great to just sit with Steve and just realize this whole other world that's out there. So.
And then I guess the other thing that was really interesting to me, it might be a polarizing part of this, is you've got this film that has, these scenes that are like would be perfect out of a Saturday morning kids, show, or like an ABC network, ABC family show, juxtaposed with these scenes that, are violent, but it's kind of a funny violent. It's like it goes to the extreme and it never it looks serious, but you do have some violent scenes. So kind of, where do you think this falls? I was talking to Nita, who plays Mimi, and she's like, oh yeah, I thought those were really funny. And I was like, oh, well, I thought they were, more violent. Do you think this is like something that you'll show? I don't know if you have kids, like you show your kids, or is this?
I won't show my kids this.
She has a really good take on it, because she was like, look, I mean, it was extreme, and I thought it was funny because they kind of made everything look, out there. But
hey, every parent, do your own thing, but for me, I'll wait a little bit. They've seen pieces of it, but no, someday I'll sit down with them when they're a little bit older and watch it with them. I keep thinking of Ryan Reynolds, where he showed Spider-Man to his kids instead of letting them watch his movies. So
Deadpool,
yeah. So but again, on that note, it's very much the kid of Steve, like it's his childhood being like mashed with an adulthood. Like it's so interesting how it has that like kids feel, that Saturday morning cartoon, but for adults. So, and I think that's why it's such a beautiful thing. It allows you to escape and just get sucked into a world that is just so much fun, but still has adult sense of humor in there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I also agree. I might wait a little bit to show my kids, but I do think it's something that it could appeal to a wide range, because you've got a lot of humor, a lot of adult humor, but then you've got some stuff that kids might enjoy too. Speaking of the kids, they love this game called Crazy Ball, and I've asked everyone I've interviewed, Do you actually know the rules to Crazy Ball? I know there are technically rules, but do you remember them at all?
I do not know. I was like, this game is silliness. Being in the suit, I thought it was the silliest game ever. I'm like, I don't get this. So any acting that happened while being in the PG suit was just legit confusion and just like, this is nonsense. So, and the whole time having like that big brain there during this game, I'm just like, this is so absurd, but I think it works.
And kind of going back to you being fully in the suit, and also kind of maybe evoking these kind of older Japanese dubbed shows. I think in this film, someone else did your voice, right? So
Yeah,
I guess
did.
how was that to like act and project when you don't necessarily have the voice? Did you have like lines like fed into you, or did you kind of work with them, or was it just you kind of acted in and they kind of fit the voice on what you were doing?
And yeah, so Steve said from the beginning he wanted to have that big Saturday morning cartoon villain voice, and he had somebody that he was in mind for that. So again, I had to learn all the lines and make sure I delivered them, hit all the gygax and all these crazy words, and I have to put enough on it so that the people acting across can do their thing. And it was more of a Sean Connery PG on set that had a little bit more sophistication to him. But yeah, again, they did a great job with the voice, and I think it serves really well with the direction that they went.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the voice was really good too. I mean, I imagine you would have done a great job as well, but I thought they did a good job with the voice too.
It's great.
So now I'd like to move on to, I call it the lightning round. It's just very lightweight questions about kind of the film or the characters. I want to see, what you, Matthew's experiences are in relation to some of the things in the film. Feel free to pass on any of them. I try to make them very answerable, but I won't be offended if you pass on any.
Go for it.
So the first question is, Mimi, who is one of the main characters, you and Mimi are kind of the main characters. Mimi is very competitive. Are you also competitive? Are you competitive to that degree?
PG or myself? No, PG. Very competitive.
Matthew.
Both. Actually, both of us are very competitive. So if I actually figured out what Crazy Balls was and how to play it, I'd destroy everybody at the game.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of one and the same, so you can answer how you want. I guess the main PG storyline started with something that was dug up. What's the strangest thing you've dug up? Have you like used a metal detector on the beach to try to find something, or have you been digging a hole in your backyard and you found some old piece of old metal tin or some case or something like that?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. Actually, back in the day, I found this old oil drum, put it onto the river, and we made it into a ship and sailed down like Huckleberry. So that is the weirdest thing I've ever dug up. So
you made an oil drum into a ship? That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's one of those out in the country. So that's the weirdest thing I've dug up.
And that must have taken a lot of work to dig up too.
It did take some time and a lot of pushing, but yeah, we made a ship out of it, and my brother and I would just kind of go down this little creek with it.
That's great. That's way better than I would have thought. So, what's your favorite Power Ranger?
Oh my gosh, they keep changing. I like.
I only know the classic, red through, I guess white would be kind of the ones that I know.
Green was always the cool guy that was like waiting to come, so I would probably go green. Yeah, I like green just because there was always mystery around him. I'm pretty sure that's the right one.
Yeah, I think that's right. He also had the dragon, which is way better than the tiger. Next question was going to be, are you a green or a white ranger person? But I think you answered correctly. So one scene involves a lucky bat. So do you have any sort of like lucky piece of sports equipment, lucky, I don't know, shoes, any sort of like lucky?
I got nothing lucky, but that lucky bat that I got hit by, that actually hurt. That like they say it's a prop bat and it's not going to hurt. Man, I got walloped twice with that thing. I was just like, okay, we got to take that easy because that thing hurts.
Was it?
She came out swinging. I'm like, man.
You know what? She's method acting, and you did probably look scary in those prosthetics.
Everybody was method acting with their punches.
Was that bat? Was it the same bat for both takes, or did they have two prop bats?
There's a rubber bat that I kept on getting hit by, and it's not soft; it just doesn't break. So it's like getting, and then there's the one that actually breaks. So yeah.
So a big part of this film is, there's this object that can kind of control PG and kind of control his actions. So do you have any sort of object that if someone had, they would be able to control you.
Oh my, food. A lot for food.
And you're like, any sort of takeout right now, everything is shut down.
Chinese food, you got me. What do you need done? Who we killing?
And I guess one of my favorite scenes is when the dad tells Mimi about this experience that he had where he kind of bucked conventional wisdom. So have you ever had a great experience from a bad idea, or, you know, from like not listening to kind of what society would tell you would be the right thing to do?
Oh man, I'm sure I do, but nothing's coming to mind. I have to think about that. I'm sorry.
You've never gotten into a stranger's van to see?
No stranger's van. So yeah, most of the time, the trouble I got into is usually I knew before getting into it that it's going to be really bad. So
perfect. And so the film comes out next week on January 22nd, and it'll come out in theaters and digitally. Now that the film's out, you know, what is next for you? What do you have on the plate?
Well, I'm hoping that we jump back into PG. We get to do some with that. Steve actually made me a monster for a film I'm working on right now, so I'm gonna get that hopefully filmed, and yeah, hopefully more monster movies.
That'd be great. I mean, I think you know, this is such a unique film. Like I don't watch trailers before I watch a movie, and so I kind of started this off. I was like, oh, I thought this was a horror movie, and you start off with the kids, and then I was like, oh, it's a horror movie. So I really loved that juxtaposition and just kind of, all the influences that we've talked about.
But it's worth it. So.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This is fantastic. And check out Matthew. You won't be able to see his face, but you'll be able to see him being the hero, villain, monster, whatever you want to call it, in PG or Psycho Goreman. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. That was Matthew Ninaber, who plays PG in PG or Psycho Goreman. Psycho Goreman is coming to theaters and digital and on demand on January 22nd, 2021. So you can either go to the theaters or you can check it out at home, whatever you want to do, whichever you're comfortable with. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot and make sure all of my new interviews go straight to you. And as always, please go to watchyourpast.com for all your movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Thank you.